He has written a book. He is a minister. How does Rama come off to you? What do you hear when you hear these comments, both sides?
You know, my main background is India. I've come and gone to India for 15 years, and I actually spent 2 years in the inner circle of Sai Baba, who's a miracle worker. He's got a following of 20 million. My book, Riders of the Cosmic Circuit, goes into him. It goes into Rajneesh. You all have heard Rajneesh, 96 Rolls Royces in Oregon, out of the country. These are the heavyweights. They're big industrial strength. To me, Rama is a kid who is of my generation, who was under Chinmoy for under a year and suddenly goes to San Diego under the Guru's orders to open up a laundromat to get humble, who's then got huge posters of himself. When I was in San Diego, they were up. Let me answer what this guy said right here. And that is that it's easy, now let me answer this, to immunize yourself against the truth when you're in a cult. You can justify anything. History, 40 years ago, shows us that Hitler did a pretty good job of this, didn't it?
Let's be specific here, Tall.
All right, let's go to Rajneesh for a second.
Let's talk about Rama. We're talking about Dr. Lenz, not about Rajneesh.
You want to be specific, my man?
Let's be specific.
There are 3 testimonies sitting to my right, and you're calling that a conspiracy, and a court of law
I'm calling them a cult.
You're the cult, my friend. You're
I go to seminars. I go to seminars.
You're in a cult. I don't care if you go to seminars. You've been brainwashed.
Tall, have you ever seen Rama in person?
I have seen him.
Have you ever attended a seminar? I see. So you're basing your judgment on media coverage.
He's so low industrial strength, I wouldn't want to see him.
All right, now, Wayne, just a minute. We've got a man here who I think is a Zen Buddhist. Yes. How does this all appear to you? I mean, we're talking about a man who calls himself Zen Master.
Well, I came on the show specifically to separate real Zen Buddhism from what this guy does. Because as far as I can tell, and I have attended his seminar, he bears no relationship to genuine Buddhism or to Zen Buddhist practice. What the meditation he taught was an amalgamation, as far as I could tell, of various Hindu techniques. He says nothing about who his teacher was, nothing about what his lineage was. Buddhism sets up a very specific transmission of teaching to protect against just this sort of person. And when I saw the advertisements, I was completely shocked, and I thought I'd have to go check it out. I did, and what I saw was not Zen.
He calls himself a master.
No living teacher would dare call themselves Zen Master. That's usually a term which is applied posthumously. After you're dead, maybe somebody else will call you a Zen Master. While you're alive, you know, you might just call yourself a teacher, or you let other people call you a teacher, but there's usually a sense of humility about it.
Christine. I have a question about, to ask Nancy. Were you sexually involved with this man?
No, I was not. I was, however, convinced by the time I left the group that I was the incarnation of his wife, which is one of the reasons I started writing very large checks. But no, I was not sexually involved with him.
Cliff.
I would like to answer, though, Wayne's charge about the Cult Awareness Network. I assume that he's not aware of the fact that the Cult Awareness Network is an educational organization in the United States with a headquarters in Chicago, which disseminates information to the media for anybody who's interested in any kind of cult or cult phenomenon. I don't think these people have anything to do with it. I sometimes lecture to Catholic youth groups under their auspices.
I am aware of what the Cult Awareness Network is. I am aware that they make referrals to parents who are worried about their children or young adults, that they refer these parents to illegal kidnappers. I'm aware that one of these illegal kidnappers, Mark Fluxum, is a convicted felon on drug charges. He was involved in deprogramming Steve here in front of you. That these people are not involved in the Cult Awareness Network, I think, is open to very, very serious question. And I think the Cult Awareness Network is a very insidious organization with the facade of an educational front.
And we'll be back in a moment.
Living with him 11 months, Annie. Then you said, I've had enough, and he said, okay, fine, Annie, you can leave and go on with your life?
What is your question?
Well, could you just leave at your own will?
After your first experience, he had the gun and so forth. I'm saying after 11 months, didn't it get stronger? Didn't he become stronger to you?
He became increasingly more abusive to me, emotionally. He rejected me. He humiliated me in front of the inner crowd constantly.
Why did you stay?
That's a good question. Why did I stay? Because I was absolutely devastated.
But could have you walked out any time, any of you? Could have you walked out the door?
Why does anyone stay in an abusive relationship?
Well, I don't want to hear you because you, Rama, how about Nancy or Steve or Annie? Could you walk out any time?
I'd like to say one thing. In the 1940s, a gentleman by the name of Robert J. Lifton wrote a book called The Psychology of Totalism and Mind Control.
Well, one of you answer the question. Could have you just walked out of the place? Yes or no?
If we were working under our own will, yes, we could have. Yes, we could have, and I did.
You didn't have gates around. It wasn't a commune. You didn't have guards.
Here, why does anyone stay in an abusive relationship? You have battery cases, domestic battery that goes on for years, and they don't leave.
All right, Cliff has a great question to this point.
Yeah, I don't feel any sympathy for those three at all. What happened to your self-esteem?
There was none.
There was none. It went out the window when I was raped.
What?
And it slowly grew a little bit, enough
I mean, you weren't doing anything for yourselves at all?
for me to walk.
You've never had a time in your life where you were maybe vulnerable, things weren't going right,
Your boss
and
picked on you.
you couldn't make a decision?
Only when the wife gets at me.
Connie.
Well, I'm a little curious. The gentleman at the end here has been saying that these people are all out. They're in some sort of cult that's trying to destroy this supposed Zen master. You're coming across as completely paranoid, and I also think that anybody who thinks that one man can come up to them and say, "I can make your life perfect. I can show you enlightenment." If you want enlightenment, open your eyes, read the paper, look what's going on around you, get your act together.
Absolutely.
And I'll tell you one thing right now. Any one person who believes that another one person holds the key to total knowledge, that's silly.
Yeah, but there are a lot of those individuals out there we follow.
All right, let's talk to some. Randy. Now, are you a follower?
Yes, I study the Rama. I want to address an issue that I know Putnam was personally involved in an abduction, kidnapping, and psychological torture of a student, what they call deprogramming.
Steve on the set was involved in that?
That's right, and for money, the people that do this are these convicts, and they make $25,000 a whack, and I'd like to address that. I mean, we got suppression of constitutional rights and freedom of.
Were you deprogrammed, Steve?
I think we need to qualify deprogramming here. Deprogramming.
Answer the question.
You know what? In fairness to all of you, let's don't just answer the question, because if you've got a legitimate story, it's going to work. All right, Steve?
Story. I went through a voluntary deprogramming. I asked this person to come out, and what it entailed was a fellow sits down and discussed with me, gave me a context to place my experience in. He talked about other cults, he talked about political re-education camps, this kind of thing, about mind control and reprogramming, so to speak, somebody's mind.
You felt like you needed this.
I felt like I needed some information that would give me a perspective on what happened to me.
You couldn't just walk away from this cold turkey, so to speak.
I had walked away from this cold turkey and then asked for this information. It was after my departure.
But he says it was locked windows, locked doors, it shut the...
He was involved in the kidnapping of another person who was abducted, held for 2 weeks against their will in a locked room with locked windows with muscle men, and until she could fake it, that she believed what they were trying to torture her with, enough to get out of the room and continue on her life.
Torture?
Yeah.
Dealing with a very insidious situation here.
Well, I would like to see the person who is charging him with this. I'd rather not go on evidence of somebody else saying that this happened to somebody else. I don't think that that's a valid thing to bring up here.
Okay, we'll be back in just a moment and talk some more.
Okay, boy. Both heated sides of whether he is, in fact, a cosmic seducer or he is an enlightened master. What does this have to do with Zen Master Rama? Anyone want to just jump in here?
It's fun.
I can guess. It's called a bliss, and you've got them in your apartment, and part of the things they do is get rid of demons. Question. Hold on. He wasn't always, tune in on this picture for a second, he wasn't always Zen Master Rama. There was a time he was Atmandana. This is a new thing in the modern world. You never see someone claiming two lineages. This is a unique thing.
What, is this just a marketing tool? Is this, what, do they give these away?
Something that he gives to his closer students.
Excuse me, he doesn't give them, he sells them.
How much do they go for?
Well, I had a hot pink and white one. It was $25 a shot.
Annie, did you have one? Did you have a bliss, Annie?
No. This
Steve?
was before my time. See, he was Atmandana when I started. This was
so
his
he
persona.
changed names. He went...
He became, God blessed him with the name of Rama while I was there in that year. He rose
was this
to
while you were
rank.
running Goldie Hawn's house?
Yes.
That he was blessed by God to be.
Right. He was
Can I say something very quickly about mind control? And this is important. I saw this on the Rajneesh ashram. There's a fellow over there who said, well, couldn't you all just leave? What happened to your self-esteem? And that was a rhetorical question because you asked the very question. You answered it while you were asking it. And that is that part is they've got guards with billy clubs out there. You've got 5 testimonies on Walden book stands saying that they couldn't leave. You all don't understand. You've never been there. Most of you, some of you have, and you're still caught. And the point is, it ain't so easy to walk when you believe the guy's on one hand, God, and on the other hand, there's all kinds of pressure out there to keep you from walking.
Now, David made an interesting point to that.
Yeah, even if there are no guards, when you're talking about religious practice or meditation, that's a part of a person which is a very personal, vulnerable, almost tender part of someone. And for someone like Lenz to come along and start to manipulate that, when you feel that you've been manipulated, very difficult to admit, and you feel scarred on a very deep level, on a very personal,
David, are you
intimate.
clear there is manipulation here? I ask you this. Are you clear personally that there's manipulation?
Well, I think
I
you're
feel
clear
completely
that there's
clear.
manipulation.
See, I don't. I think people are here on their own free will because they're interested in what Rama is teaching, and Rama is committed to teaching people meditation as
Suzanne,
widely as possible.
all right, this is Nancy's sister.
Hi, I'm Nancy's sister. Hi, Nancy. I haven't seen her in a while. But I'd just like to shed some light on the story that you said. We were living together at the time when we decided to move to Boston, and Nancy was under quite a lot of pressure and did have a nervous breakdown. I recognized it because I actually had one 20 years ago myself.
All right, you said 30 seconds and you're over it now.
All right, I'm sorry. But the problem was we had a lot of problems during that time. My father had recently died. She lost 30 pounds in 3 weeks. She was having a horrible time at her job. She was looking for all kinds of jobs and wasn't getting any.
So she was really vulnerable to this guy who comes up and used to be Hindu and now he's Zen and...
Yeah, she was vulnerable,
Jesus Christ.
and she didn't sleep, and she just flipped out. I mean, it has nothing to do with me. I've been having a great time. I've been studying 4 years. I've raised my income from $18,000 to way.
And you're a
over
Rama
50.
follower.
Well, I attend seminars, yeah, and I'm like making good money. I'm having good fun. I'm like...
Yeah, where is he today? Where's Rama today, Steve?
It's impossible to say. He hasn't...
We can't get hold of him.
No.
Annie, what are you doing today?
What am I doing? I'm in graduate school, psychology. I also have a full-time job, putting myself through
And
school.
Steve?
I'm finishing up college down at the University of California.
And Nancy?
I'm a law student.
Sounds pretty squared away.
I wanted to point out something, again, on the why they couldn't leave. I was in the intermediate level here.
Well, we're hearing right here it's too much of the same side. Okay, let's shoot, Gail. You got about 30 seconds.
Okay, I'm studying with Rama, and I've studied with him for 5 years, and the remarkable thing I find about what all of you are saying is that over and over and over again, he's promoted only 2 things to me. One is meditate and clear your mind through meditation to find for yourself what decisions you should be making, that you should never rely on him for making up your own mind about things. Use meditation, time-honored techniques of meditation to determine for yourself how you should live your life.
Well, I'd like to address that.
We got
Rely on
to
Rama.
leave. Thank you to all of you for being... Unfortunately, we are out of time, and we're not trying to cut the discussion there. But at least this morning we've learned about there is an individual by the name of Zen Master Rama out there. Ann and I shall return after this.